Stop by and visit an old friend, Louie's Cafe, just outside the north gates of LSU.
Get the 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge mobile app powered by Bayou Ford and tap the microphone icon to send us your thoughts in an audio message. Your message could be played on air. Find our app in the Apple or Google Play Store. For direct links, visit 1045ESPN.com. Tigers, Saints, Southeastern Conference, all in one place. LouisianaSports.net. No paywalls, no article limits. It's just the coverage the Louisiana sports fans want. Bookmark it today. LouisianaSports.net.
Louisiana's big weather can mean big damage to your roof. Our team offers free inspections and guarantees your satisfaction. Call 756-8603 or visit riceandroofing.com.
Just to be on the safe side.
Why do billion-dollar insurance companies regularly delay and deny valid claims? Because that's how they got to be billion-dollar insurance companies. If you've been injured, I'd like to help.
Spencer Callahan, call 387-2323.
LA filing number 1.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show.
This is a catastrophe.
You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Welcome in. Hunt Palmer coming to you from the Raising Cane studio downtown in the capital city on this Wednesday. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. About half the work week in the rearview mirror. Appreciate you hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Got Jordan Kitchens and Cassie Spazzali back there on the ones and twos. Plenty to get to on this Wednesday. Got What If Wednesday coming up in half an hour. We're going to restart talking LSU hoops with Matthew Brune on Wednesdays. He'll be with us coming up at 1:15. 2 o'clock, straight up 2 o'clock. I'm going to talk a lot about LSU baseball. I had an opportunity over the last couple of days to talk to some people inside the program, got a real feel for what they saw in the fall, kind of what the plan is moving out of this semester into the Christmas break, and then they come back and hit the ground running full speed. I realize this is not something you're going to get on every show on these airwaves at this time of year, but I'm going to give you that coming up at 2 o'clock. So we'll do that. Make sure and join us for that, if you will. JD Pickell with us at 2:15, as he always is on Tuesdays as well. So plenty to do. We got LSU football to get to, some transfer portal news with Jawan Johnson and whatnot, but I haven't started with the Saints in a little bit, and I wanted to do that today. And I'm not going to do this type of segment every day for 5 months, okay? But I thought it was relevant today because it's the first kind of peek behind the curtain that we've gotten with a mock draft for the upcoming spring. You've got now a reasonable expectation of around where the Saints will be drafting. I would suggest if I gave you an opportunity to get within 4 picks of where the Saints are drafting, you could probably do it. If you picked the 5 spot in the draft, you would probably be close enough to where the Saints are going to pick. You try to do that on September 28th, you're really playing with some hypotheticals there. Now, as we're just about in the middle of December, you got a reasonable expectation of where the Saints are going to be picking. And Fields Yates put a mock draft together with the current standing in the NFL, and the Saints are the 5th pick in that mock draft. So you start to look at the players that are toward the top of the draft, and you can actually start kind of identifying potential players the Saints could look at, because I would submit that at this point, in the middle of December, we've got a decent idea of the guys in the top 10, 12, 15 picks in the draft. You start getting back towards 18, 22, 25, like it starts to get a little bit less certain. There are still combines to go through, still a lot of evaluation that's got to be done. Guys have got to declare for the draft or potentially come back, and there are a lot of moving pieces, but you kind of know who the top 10 or 12 guys are that are moving into this draft, and the Saints are going to be right there in the middle of that. So I wanted to see what Field Yates was going to do, more so from a who's around at that pick and what you think the Saints may lean toward as far as position goes. So I go to this mock draft, and he's got the Saints picking 5th. First pick of the draft, as we all think is probably going to happen, Fernando Mendoza, who's going to win the Heisman Trophy on Saturday. First pick, he's got that to the Jets via a trade with the Giants. Second pick, he's got Dante Moore, the quarterback out of Oregon, going to the Raiders. Third pick, Tennessee Titans taking Arvell Reese. This is a guy that a lot of Saints fans are going to covet. He's an edge player from Ohio State. I understand why. I would love it if the Saints took Arvell Reese, but they've got him going third in this draft to a 2-11 Tennessee team currently. And then they go right back to Ohio State with the fourth pick for Carnell Tate, a wide receiver who is also going to get a lot of buzz for the New Orleans Saints in this draft. So that leaves the Saints there at 5. And the pick for Field Yates is Francis Mauigoa, offensive tackle from Miami. Now, the point of this segment is not for me to break down Francis Mauigoa, because I'm not going to do that on December the 10th. That's not my beat. We're too far down the road for me to break down his tape and say whether or not that's a good pick for the Saints based on what I think he can or can't do. Not the point of the segment. The point of the segment is, where do we think the Saints would go? And obviously this raises some eyebrows because, as Field Yates writes, he says that taking an offensive tackle in the first round for the third straight season might seem odd, but the Saints could move Taliesin Fuaga from right tackle to right guard in this scenario. Okay, here's the point of this segment. I don't want the Saints to take an offensive lineman in the first round of this draft. I don't. Not because offensive line is not important. Not because the Saints are overvaluing offensive line. It's really important to get an offensive line together. It's really important to help a young quarterback out with a really good offensive line. And the Saints' offensive line right now is not good. So taking an offensive lineman does make sense. Also, to Field Yates' point, it is easier to find a cornerback or a running back or a safety or a linebacker in the 5th or 6th round than it is a starting offensive lineman. Why? Because there are more people who are 6'1", 220 that can run than there are 6'6", 312 that can move. That's just simple. So it does make sense from that perspective. But here's what I think about the Saints and what they need to do with an early pick in this draft. You got to go somewhere else and help your roster, because while you're sitting here taking an offensive lineman with your top selection in 4 of the last 7 drafts and your last 2, it would be 3 in a row. It would be 5 out of 8 and 3 in a row. You would have been taking an offensive tackle, offensive lineman. You're allowing the rest of your roster to deteriorate. You're not getting any help for Pete Werner or Demario Davis at the top of the draft. You're doing that maybe with Danny Stutzman later on. Like, I realize you're not going to take an inside linebacker with the 3rd pick in the draft, but like, you're not helping those guys early in the draft. You're not getting impact running back. Your running back's 30 years old, and you're hoping that Devin Neal from the back end of the draft is going to help you with that. Your wide receiver core, since you took Chris Olave, has been a mercenary unit. You got a diamond in the rough, Rashid Shaheed. It came time for contract time. You traded him. Now you're clinging to, a guy that was a 7th round pick that you traded a 4th round pick for, and then Mason Tipton, who you got off the scrap heap. You're allowing all of these position groups to deteriorate and not get you're looking for Pro Bowl level impact with the 5th pick in the draft, with the 9th pick in the draft. And you're spending all of that on one spot. And oh, by the way, it's not very good. So you've got to help out other parts of your roster instead of just continuing to sink resources into one aspect of your roster and letting everything around it crumble. You haven't drafted a quarterback at the top of the draft. So you spent $100 million on a guy that couldn't play and got hurt, and now you're hoping a 2nd-round pick hits. And I'm not here to tell you that Tyler Shuck's not going to hit and Devin Neal's not going to hit and Mason Tipton or Devon Bailey can't be good players. I'm not here to tell you Danny Stutzman can't make a Pro Bowl and inside linebacker. Like, that's not the point, but big picture. You got to help other places on the roster, not just offensive line. And in this scenario, you're telling Taliesin Fuaga, hey, we drafted you. You played left tackle. Thanks. Then we moved you to right tackle. Learn that. Thanks. Now we're moving you to right guard. Learn that. Well, now you're about to be at the end of his rookie deal and you can't find a spot for him. So, if they took Francis, because it's not pronounced like it says, so I have to look, Mauigoa. It looks like Mauigoa, but it's Mauigoa. If they took Francis Mauigoa with the 5th pick, I wouldn't suggest the franchise was doomed. I wouldn't suggest you're taking a terrible player. I wouldn't suggest you're taking a guy that can't help you. I would suggest you're letting another year go by at the top of the draft where you're not helping your wide receiver core and you're not helping your running back situation. You haven't taken a corner in the first round. You traded up, and you went and got Kool-Aid McKinstry fairly early in the draft. But are you as good at corner as you were with Marshawn Lattimore out there? No, you're not. And you're not going to get Pro Bowl level players in the first round. You're going to get guys who aren't working out. Trevor Penning didn't work out. You're shuffling Tallahassee Fuwanga all over the place. I think he's a good player, but you got to help. I think it's a wide receiver. I think it's a wide receiver at that spot. And in this mock draft, yes, right in front of you, Carnell Tate comes off the board of the Browns, but then right behind you at pick number 7, Jordan Tyson from Arizona State comes off the board to the Giants. And that's a guy at Arizona State who has missed a little bit of time this year with a hamstring injury, but it's been really, really productive. He's had over 1,800 yards over the last 2 seasons playing with Sam Leavitt out there at Arizona State. Like, that's a guy that can help. That's a guy you can bring in to help your young quarterback. That's a guy you can bring in with his size, his playmaking ability to bump Chris Olave down to a number 2, and then you got Devon Vele as a number 3, and now all of a sudden it looks a little bit more like if you hit on that pick and he looks like Jamar Chase or he looks like Malik Neighbors or the guys that we know around here that you plugged into these offenses. I mean, look what Emeka Ibuka's doing in your division out of the first round. Like, get a guy in there to be a difference maker, put Olave right behind him where he becomes a below average 1. Now you're talking about a solid 2. Vele, what he's done the last 3 games, that's a real 3 with a big body. And all of a sudden, now your wide receiver core is revitalized again. Instead of just continuing to pump assets into an offensive line that's not playing very well. So, yeah, I understand it on its face. I don't think Field Yates has made a foolish selection here. I just disagree with the direction that the franchise would go in that pick. So, again, the next 4 weeks are very interesting from a how they play perspective. They're very interesting for a do they win perspective to see where they actually end up picking in this draft. And ultimately, it's not the wins and losses this year that matter as much. It's the roster reconstruction that goes on as you continue to push forward under a new head coach with a new quarterback and with a roster that's going to shed a lot of old, expensive players in the next 14 months. And then what's right there behind them? You got to have good young players. You're going to be picking towards the top of this draft. You've got to make that pick count. I'm not telling you what kind of player I think you're talking about in Francis Maui-Noa. I'm talking about the position that he plays in the direction of your franchise. I would go with an edge rusher. I would go with a wide receiver. I would go with someone at a position where you haven't addressed that well enough early in drafts in the very recent past. Just my thoughts on that with the New Orleans Saints. Our Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Looking for the pool of your dreams? Built by Renaissance.com. We'll step aside. Come back with Matthew Brune talking some hoops next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Swing Easy Golf Club in Baton Rouge. Swing Easy, GCBR.com is that website. Just a lot of fun. Go play some golf. If you're fairly new to the game and you want to get better, but you feel like the only way to get better is to go play golf at a golf course, takes 5 hours, a little bit cold, you feel like you're holding the course up, it's just not a pleasant experience out there when you go out and play. Well, that's okay. Get a tee time at Swing Easy Golf. You get controlled climate. You're inside at the swing simulator, and you can play around a golf at Pebble Beach, or you can play at TPC Sawgrass, or hit some balls on the range. Not feel like you're holding anybody up. You don't have to take 5 hours out of your day to do it. You can play 18 holes in an hour and 20 minutes, and you feel like you're getting better as you do it and having some fun. They got cold beer in there. They got seltzers, got a glass of wine for you. You can crank up the tunes in your individual bay, comfy seating, TV right there. It's just a different way to play golf. Look, I love going out there to play golf on a Saturday. But if you're maybe not quite there yet and want to keep hitting shots but feel out of place on the golf course, consider Swing Easy Golf Club. It's an awesome place to go, work on your game, enjoy it in the comfort of a private bay, not feel like you're holding people up or inconveniencing folks. Check them out on a Saturday, Sunday. They're open 7 days a week at Swing Easy Golf Club on Seagan at Perkins. SwingEasyGCBR.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
When it comes to choosing energy for your family and your home, make the smart choice with natural gas. You can count on efficient and affordable natural gas to keep you comfortable and reduce your environmental impact to help protect our planet. Together, we're fueling our energy future. Atmos Energy.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs, set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free, confidential help now.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
A little chilly for the pool today, but spring's around the corner. We're going to talk about baseball in 45 minutes. Proof spring's around the corner. If you want to get into the pool of your dreams, go to builtbyrenaissance.com. Contact folks at Renaissance Homes and Pools. They can build any pool that you're looking for, from a big resort-style get-up or just small cocktail pool for you and a small family. Either way, you can design it, customize it, have you ready to be in it for the spring if you start that process while we're here in the month of December. So contact my guy, Joey Blanford. Check him out at builtbyrenaissance.com. It's Renaissance Homes and Pools. They bring you our Wednesday shows each and every week here on the Hunt Palmer Show. We still got plenty to do here on this Wednesday. It's What If Wednesday, so you can go ahead and get in the Bayou Ford chat. Those of you that are already there, throw some what ifs at us. Got a few coming our way on Twitter as well, so we'll get to that in 15 minutes. We're going to start up something we did last year, talk some hoops. Our guy Matthew Brune from the Bengal Tiger, part of the On3 Network, covers the LSU men's and women's basketball team as well as anybody. Joins us now on the Jim's Firearms Hotline. Mr. Brune, how are you?
Hey, Hunt, I'm doing great. It's another Wednesday here in BR. I'm doing well.
All right, I want to talk about the men first. I turn on the TV most weekends, most midweek nights, and see the SEC really challenging itself. And the SEC hasn't been great thus far in the non-conference, but LSU, it doesn't appear, has played a real stern and non-conference slate prior to Sunday. How would you categorize LSU's first 8 games of the year?
Yeah, the first 8 games, I definitely think it's fair to say that they haven't challenged themselves the way that a lot of the teams have in the SEC. With that being said, the brands that are in the SEC are inherently going to play in these huge games. I mean, the Kentucky, Tennessee, Florida, obviously Cal at Arkansas and such. Auburn, Final Four team last year. So they all get paid a lot to go play in these games and stuff. I'm not sure LSU has those opportunities. So it is kind of a catch-22 situation where they could go out and try to find a top 40 game, maybe on the road or something. But a lot of these teams in the SEC are playing tough games largely because they're getting paid to do so. They're being promoted as such.
So what do you make of LSU's offensive start prior to Sunday, where they were among the nation's leaders in field goal percentage, scoring, and all that?
Yeah, I think there was some tangible things that you can take away in terms of what they did well. Obviously, DJ Thomas at point guard is real. I think we saw that even with the Texas Tech game, and I think we'll see that throughout the entire season. He is an excellent point guard. He is worth everything they paid for him in the portal. He is going to be the straw that stirs the drink the entire year. The rest of it is going to be interesting. I think through the first 8 games of the year, we saw them really punish people on the inside. They got to the free throw line a ton. They're super big when they play Markel Sutton at the 3 next to 2 bigs. So they really try to dominate the paint, get rebounds, and win on the inside. And it's going to be interesting to see how that holds up moving forward.
All right, how big a deal was Sunday? They were never competitive against Texas Tech in Fort Worth.
Yeah, I went into the game hesitant, and one of my keys was to stop Christian Anderson. Christian Anderson had been streaky for Texas Tech so far this year, but I watched him over the summer play for Germany and FIBA, and he was fantastic. And sure enough, Christian Anderson absolutely went off and set the tone early. So with that being the case, and with LSU's struggles from the three-point line, which is now 2 games in a row, Boston College and Texas Tech, you look at it and this team does not really have the firepower to play from behind. This is a team that wants to, at the very least be in games and if not be ahead to where they can get to the free throw line. Thomas can kind of dictate things. I think it was kind of worst case scenario where Texas Tech came out, hit threes, got ahead early, and LSU is not a team that's comfortable, I don't think, especially not yet, playing from behind in that way.
And you saw LSU, as you mentioned, really shoot the ball poorly from 3, and it appears they've got some guys that can be rather streaky, at least early on in the season. You've seen that from Max McKinnon. Obviously, he had a big game in the opener against Charleston State, hit 6 threes against Omaha, goes 0 for 5 against Texas Tech after having a nice weekend in Destin. Is that just kind of be an up and down ding with him shooting the 3?
Yeah, McKinnon is interesting. I definitely think he's going to be streaky this year. I think the important thing for LSU from the three-point line is finding what lineups they want to use when McKinnon is off. I think we'll see more P.J. Carter, who is a 60-year player. He's been a shooter his whole career. I think we'll get to see him play a bit more. I think we'll maybe get to see more Ron Zipper because they're not asking Max McKinnon to do a ton off the dribble. I think between him, Carter, and Zipper, you just need to find who can make shots on that given day, who's hot, and what lineups you want to play. I also think it'll be interesting to see what they do with Markel Sutton, especially with Jalen Reed's injury, which I do think is substantial once again. I think they'll have to play Sutton more at the 4 spot, and that'll potentially get more shooting on the court as well.
You mentioned Carter, McKinnon, and Zipper at the 2. Do you have concerns about those 3 guys playing defense against 2 guards in the SEC?
Definitely. My concern, I think I wrote this after the Charleston game or maybe the second or third game, but perimeter defense is probably my biggest concern for this team on that side of the ball. DJ Thomas is obviously great offensively. Defensively, he's kind of small. And then McKinnon is not a real defender in that way. So I think you see it at times with a guy like Christian Anderson for Texas Tech getting loose. Backcourt defense is going to be a concern moving forward. But I don't think there's a real option they have. Besides Rashad King, I do want to give him a shout out. I think he's a good defender, but offensively he's not as polished as the other ones. So it'll be interesting. There's still enough depth on this team to where I think McMahon will figure it out, and I think they have some time here to play with lineups and stuff, but that is a concern for sure.
All right, you know how LSU basketball fans tick. They didn't care about the 8-0 start really because of what last year you played well in the non-conference and then got smashed in SEC play, and then you got crushed by the one top 20 team you played. So they're all sitting there going, "Well, I don't trust this at all." Like, how big a deal is Saturday's game in New Orleans against a functional TCU team, SMU team?
Yeah, I do think there is pressure. I do think there is something to be said that you leave for a month, you pick up some wins against Drake, DePaul, and Boston College. But if you lose to Texas Tech and SMU, you come back home, and what have you really done in terms of a resume? And that's the biggest thing here. We could talk about the SEC being down a bit. We could talk about, I think LSU having a much clearer path to making the tournament than they did last year. But ultimately, if you lose to SMU, then you have missed out on your two quad one opportunities. And honestly, I'm not sure they would have a quad two win. Drake and DePaul and neutrals might be, but your resume just is not good enough from the non-conference. So then you have a lot of pressure on yourself in conference play to get to 9-9, to get to 10-8 if you're going to make the tournament again, because the resume in the non-conference would be so weak. So I do think there's pressure from fan perspective. Obviously from an interest perspective, you got to get something going there, but also resume and NCAA tournament hopes. I think this game is big for that as well.
So what does your gut tell you about where this team is relative to the rest of the SEC right now? I know that you watch a lot of hoops. I also know that it's still relatively early. So what do you think?
Yeah, I still think this is a team that can make the tournament, and I think if I had to pick right now, I think they will make the tournament. I think they can go 9-9 in conference play. I think they beat SMU on Saturday. I look at the rest of the conference and just, again, compared to last year, it is night and day almost. I go to KenPom, one of the, ratings places, and there's not an SEC team in the top 7 right now. There's one team in the top 12, and that's Vanderbilt. And I'm not 100% sold on Vanderbilt being great. I think Alabama's still the best team in the conference. So I've watched Tennessee. Kentucky is 6-4 right now. Everybody wants Mark Pope's head. Auburn is I think, a shell of itself. A&M has really struggled. Texas has struggled. So, again, I say all that to say I think this is still a middle-of-the-pack team. I think this is a team that can push into that 7-9 range in the SEC if everything goes well and they stay healthy. But like I said, they need to start getting some substantial wins.
We'll see if they can start that coming up on Saturday against SMU in the Smoothie King Center, 7:30 tip-off there from the Big Easy. We'll talk to Matthew Brune about LSU hoops every single Wednesday. Appreciate the time, man.
Thanks, Hunt.
You can check his workout at the Bengal Tiger on 3, part of the team over there with a great team. It's got Shea Dixon over there, got Matthew Brune over there, got Bryce Kuhn over there, so they do great work, and Matthew's all over the basketball beats. And we'll talk about the women a little bit. The women are scoring 100 points in every game. I think they're very good. They're playing a bunch of teams that can't stay on the floor with them, so we're not going to spend too much time on that here in December. I'll tell you this, and we'll leave basketball for the day. And again, we're not going to talk any basketball tomorrow. We'll do some on Friday before this game coming up on Saturday. But, he's not wrong. I know that LSU fans don't spend a lot of time watching the rest of the SEC play basketball in November and December. I know that. And I know that LSU fans are disenchanted with the current state of the basketball program. I know that, and I get that. I'm with Brune, and I'm still giving LSU a chance in what is not as good a league. A&M is not close to what they were under Buzz Williams. Auburn does not have their head coach. Bruce Pearl's gone. Kentucky can't get out of its own way. They're freaking out up there. You look around at, Mississippi State, who hadn't gotten off to a great start here. I don't know that Missouri's awesome. I don't know that Texas is awesome. So, South Carolina's not great. So you're looking at a manageable league where last year just simply was not manageable, and I knew that before LSU tipped the ball off in their conference opener. This is a little bit more manageable, but hear me out on this with LSU basketball. If they lose by a considerable margin on Saturday, you'll lose my optimism, because you can't go out there against the two good non-conference teams you play and get smoked. Now, they lose by a bucket. I'll say, well, you wasted a chance there, but I'll still give you a shot. And if you win the game, I'll be more along the line of thinking that I was on Sunday, where that's a game on Sunday that just got away from them on both ends. It got away from them because Texas Tech was making everything, and it got away from them because they weren't making anything. And, like, that just is going to happen sometimes. Like, it just is. And especially when you're not a great team. I don't think LSU's a great team. So there are going to be days where your opponent's making shots and you're not, and it just gets away. And that's why you play a lot of basketball games. And it's going to happen in league play. LSU's going to lose a league game by 30 points. Absolutely. They will. Because they won't shoot well, and the other team will, and they'll lose by 30. But it's one game. So it's important for them on Saturday to go out there and play well and either win or be right there. And I don't really want you to be right there, but I'm also not pegging you to make the Elite Eight this year. So I'm not trying to be unrealistic. But against SMU, compete for Cause Classic on Saturday in the Smoothie King Center. You got to show up. So we'll see if LSU can do that. Thanks to Matthew Brune for joining us with a little bit of time. Let's do some What If Wednesday next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Lifetime Roofing. Lifetime Roofing, Baton Rouge-based roofing company, services the entire state of Louisiana, plus over there in Houston as well. Check them out at lifetimeroofingla.com. They are happy to come and give you an inspection, give you that peace of mind to know that your roof is in the shape that it needs to be in. Down here in this part of the world, it's important that our roofs are in good shape. We understand when storm seasons roll around. We understand there's a rainy season coming up here. And if you don't have your roof in order, it can be very, very expensive on the back end. So make sure your roof is exactly what it needs to be. If you need a repair, they can do it. You need a replacement, they can do it as well. It all starts right there on the website, lifetimeroofingla.com. Your roof protects your home. That's your greatest investment, and the people that live inside it, pretty important as well. Make sure your roof is what it needs to be with Lifetime Roofing. Check them out online, lifetimeroofingla.com, lifetimeroofingla.com.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
This menu is a masterpiece. Delivers every time.
This is the worst party ever. Raisin Cane's!
Let's go!
The party is saved!
Peter, Mr. Billingsley.
Celebrate the holidays with Raisin Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
The Windsor Senior Living Community in Mandeville, Louisiana is a beautiful, vibrant apartment community geared towards seniors. They are nestled right in the heart of Mandeville, where seniors live a more carefree lifestyle in spacious apartments with the peace of mind that comes from having a little extra help. Call the Windsor at 985-624-8040 to schedule a lunch and tour. Come see how the Windsor can be your passport to peace of mind.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
BRAC teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work, creating 12 beautiful community parks across the parish. A family-sized water park, miles and miles of trails, and parks just for your dogs. There are more places to splash, to explore, to run wild, and even soar. You imagined, we delivered. Gold. BRAC, your #1 park system in the nation.
Lock Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates has won for our clients over $175 million over the decades, but our greatest success is our clients who have chosen and trusted us to help them. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call. You've got nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan. If you get injured, you could be staring at medical bills, repair costs, and lost income. Life can be turned upside down. At Lockmere to Sean Fagan and Associates, we'll work to turn your
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday shows brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com, built by Renaissance.com. Got a lot of folks in the chat chirping me. Chirping, saying they don't think I could make a roux because I'm from Shreveport. I promise you I can stir flour into oil.
That's pretty mean, actually, because you're from Louisiana, so why would they even say that?
They would suggest I'm not. Now, you want to get somebody on a soapbox, you'll get Jacob Hester on a soapbox real quick. I don't get too offended. I think it's silly when people say that Shreveport's not in Louisiana.
Okay, because me and Hester talked about this before. What would you rather be called, East Texas or South Arkansas? Which one?
Both would be stupid.
Okay.
It would be stupid to say either one.
Because Jake hates that South Arkansas. Like that one gets grinds his gears.
I mean, I played in district high school games in Spring Hill, Louisiana, where the right lane of the road is in Arkansas and the left lane of the road is in Louisiana. Okay. That's where Spring Hill is. Okay. Devin White's from there.
Okay.
I played the Lumberjacks every single year, and it's
right
there by Arkansas. And then look, my grandparents lived about 30 minutes from my house. They lived in Greenwood, Louisiana. That's the last one in Louisiana before you get to Texas. So I think it's Wascom? Is that the first one in Texas? Either way, I'm from Louisiana, and I promise you, I can turn on the stove, I can put oil in the pot, I can put flour in the pot and stir it for 45 minutes until it turns chocolate brown. I promise I can do it.
Yeah, I don't know where they got that from. But hold on. This is the magic question. So when I went to Shreveport, I have family in Shreveport, so I'm kind of 318 a little bit.
Okay.
Ain't all the way. Why in the world, when I went up there, the Cowboys were playing the Seahawks, whenever they played the Seahawks in the playoffs, it looked like we was in Dallas, Texas.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Dallas is closer to Shreveport than New Orleans is.
Okay, it looked like I was in Dallas.
There are more Saints fans in Shreveport than it's the big thing where everybody was suggesting there are more Bama fans in North Louisiana than LSU fans when Nick Saban was going into Monroe and getting recruits. And I'm like, no, that's not true. There's way more LSU fans than Bama fans in North Louisiana. But Nick Saban is winning a lot and he can recruit a lot. And so he does that. But yeah, there's a lot of Dallas Cowboys fans in Shreveport. And keep in mind, my dad was born and raised in Shreveport. When he was in his formative years, the Saints didn't even exist.
Yeah, the Cowboys
they weren't even a team. So the Cowboys were right down the road. So he's a Cowboys fan, just never switched. I was a big Cowboys fan in the mid-90s. Okay. When they were winning Super Bowls, I was in. And then Aikman left, and Emmett left, and Irvin left, and they weren't any good, and Quincy Carter was throwing interceptions. Ooh. And somewhere along the line, I was just like, well, I don't really care about this anymore, and it just never came back. So I just never got into that. There's a chance that my kid becomes a big Saints fan. And I can adopt that with him. I feel bad doing that now. There's 4 teams I root for.
Okay.
LSU football, LSU basketball, LSU baseball, and the Cubs.
Okay.
That's about it. I'm not passionate about anything else. So I'm not going to jump on the Saints bandwagon. I'm not jumping on the Pels bandwagon. I would prefer.
You don't got to jump on. We're good.
I would prefer they win. It's great if they win. But when I watch the Cubs play in the playoffs, my mom was here because Myers had surgery, and she was like, "It's scary to watch you watch a game." And not that I'm yelling and screaming, I'm just so intense and focused. My heart's beating a million. If I'm in that press box in Tiger Stadium, or if I'm in that stadium in Omaha like I was last year, I'm miserable in a good way watching these games. When the Saints play, even in the playoffs, it just doesn't. Oof. I can't make it up. And so, that's not helping. We were on Rue, and now we're on my North Louisiana roots. But
hey, 318 great, man.
It is what it is. Let's do What If Wednesday.
Time, space, reality. It's more than a linear path. Where a single choice can branch out into infinite realities. Follow me and ponder the question. What if?
All right, let's kick this bad boy off with, what if one of the G5 teams wins their first round game?
Well, you got James Madison at Oregon, and if they win that game,
yikes.
I'll be flatline stunned. And I say that with fully admitting I've never seen James Madison play one game of football in my entire life. Never watched him take one snap.
Yeah.
Not one. Can't name a player who's ever played for James Madison, including the current team. I know PFT commenter from Barstool went to James Madison. That's all I got on James Madison football. But if they win, that's, whatever. If Tulane beats Ole Miss, I won't stop laughing for 3 months. It'll be just a nonstop laughter. Because all I've gotten out of Oxford is how Kiffin's the worst, Kiffin's a disaster, Golding was running the recruiting.
Yeah.
They got this guy coming in who's going to be the same thing on offense that they got from East Carolina because he was working with Kiffin, and they'll recruit better now, and they've ascended to the top of the sport, and that's all I've heard. And then if Tulane comes in there and beats you in Oxford in the playoff, in the biggest game that you've ever played in that stadium, well, maybe in the last 60 years, I will laugh for 3 months if that happens.
I need that more than I need air to breathe, honestly. I need that so bad because I see the same things you've been seeing. Oh, they've been chirping. You would thought Pete Golding was Nick Saban reincarnated the way they've been talking. So.
Guys runs the whole operation.
Oh, yeah. They was like, we're better without Kiffin. Okay, we're going to see. So I need that outcome more than anything. Yep. So what if Notre Dame and BYU were put in and Bama and Miami were left out?
Look, here's the thing. And I said it with Notre Dame yesterday, and I got kind of some run on social media and whatnot with my take on Notre Dame. It applies to Miami and Alabama, too. When you put yourself in that position and you lose games, you're at the mercy. And so, the first thing I ever did as a professional writer, I took a job with Bayou Bengals Insider right out of school in 2011. And the first thing I covered was the selection show for LSU baseball. And I thought LSU should have gotten into the NCAA baseball tournament in 2011. But they went 13-17 in the league, and they didn't qualify for the SC tournament. And so my take on it was I think they should have gotten in over St. John's, who I think is probably terrible. And LSU's got Mikey Matuk and Kevin Gaussman and future big leaguers, and I think they're much better than St. John's. But you go 13-17 in the league, sorry, you don't get to complain about it. And at this point, if you're Miami and you lose to Louisville and you lose a home game, if you're Alabama and you get dusted in the SC championship game, you leave the door open. And that's the same thing I'm saying with Notre Dame, who's just crying that there's corruption and that the conference has contrived against them and damaged them and all.
ACC.
Sorry, you damaged yourself when you lost those first two games. And if BYU wants to get in the field, well, then go beat Texas Tech. And if you can't, then you're not in. So my thing on it is, if it's just an ultimate screw job, like Florida State a few years ago, I can get on their page with bitching because they did everything that they could do.
Yeah.
These teams didn't. They lost 2 games apiece, or 3 in Bama's case. So at that point, I don't really want to hear it.
Nah, not at all. Please, Notre Dame, stop it. So speaking of Notre Dame, what if Marcus Freeman leaves Notre Dame for the NFL?
I wouldn't rule it out. He's the betting favorite for the Giants job. I think Notre Dame fans would be really disappointed in that. And then you realize that the hiring cycle's kind of come and gone.
Yeah.
So what do you do in that moment? I haven't really given it a lot of thought as to who would be available to go coach Notre Dame. It feels like some kind of Kenny Dillingham thing.
To Notre Dame, he don't even fit that.
That doesn't feel like he's a little bit more laid back, a little more West
he's
Coast.
Perfect Arizona State, oh no.
I mean, I don't know what they would do at that point. I can't think of someone who has immediate Brian Kelly.
Hey.
There it is.
Hey.
Brian Kelly. That's the hire.
I love that move.
Bring him back to South Bend.
I love that move.
Love to see it. That was a joke. Probably not going to happen. But that'd be tough for Notre Dame if that happens.
I would love that move just because all the stuff they said about Brian Kelly when he went to LSU, they got to kind of eat that again. Be
I don't think they're hiring Brian Kelly.
Oh, yeah. What's Brian? What do you think he's doing right now anyway? Think he's on the golf course?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No doubt. And in Florida. Not here.
With his feet kicked up. So what if Lane Kiffin bolts for the NFL in 2 years?
I think pretty much everyone associated with LSU realizes that's a distinct possibility. He went there and failed. That obviously fuels the fire a little bit. But I would submit if in 2 years he takes an NFL job, one, he would take that job in January once LSU was done.
Yeah.
So you would get 2 full seasons. And if his name is that hot in NFL circles 2 years from now, something's gone well. And so I think while I don't want that to happen, another transition in 2 years, it's still the right hire right now. Before that even happens, it's still the right hire right now because that risk comes with great football.
Yeah.
And I think that's what you've got to do. You can't hire scared of success, which is what that would be. And so I think that now if he had said, previously before you hired him, like, I'm really gunning for an NFL job. We'll see if that works out. And then you hire him, like, you're open the door for anything to happen. Yeah. At this point, he hasn't made that clear. I think he wants to be here right now. And so, yeah, I think it's the right hire right now, even with that risk, because it means you've played really well.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to spend money to make money. So you don't go into that move without trying to better the football team. Yep. LSU's better today without Brian Kelly. So that's all that matters. So what if you were a Mets fan today?
Man, that's tough. You have, in a sport with no salary cap, you have the richest owner.
Yep.
He came in and said, we're spending cash. So he went out there and he got Juan Soto, and you've got this team that looks really good. And 2 years ago, you were in the championship series. And then you made a trade to send Brandon Nimmo out of town. And then you didn't sign Edwin Diaz, who went to the Dodgers. And today, your best hitter, well, not your best hitter, your most powerful hitter, Pete Alonso, signed with the Orioles.
Ooh.
So you got all your fan favorites are gone. Like, you got nothing. You got McClain, the rookie pitcher. You got Lindor, and then everybody's kind of gone.
That's it.
Like, it's a tough scene there in Mets land, because they were promised to have an owner that would spend everything for everybody, and they got outbid by the Dodgers, which is one thing. The Orioles? Come on now. That's not very good. Now, keep in mind, I'm a Cubs fan, and they're sitting on their hands, so we'll see.
Wait, so tell me this. Are the Mets fans the Jets fans?
Nets, Mets, Jets.
Ooh.
It's a tough scene.
Yeah, bless them. That's all. That's it for What If Wednesday.
I mean, I don't know what the worst of that is, Nets, Mets, or Jets. What would you say is the worst? What's the toughest to be a fan of?
Probably the Jets, man. The Jets been bad my whole life. Like,
the Jets went to 2 straight AFC Championship games with Sanchez.
Yeah, but then before that, it was bad still.
The Nets had Jason Kidd and Vince
then they
Carter.
got relocated to Brooklyn. So I mean,
the Mets made the World Series in 2015. They swept the Cubs in the NLCS.
Oh, that would be a good exercise. Like, what fan base? Well, I guess regional fan base has the worst between like you said, the Jets, the Mets, all that. That'd be a good exercise.
Outside of one run from LeBron, it's been tough for Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland. Oh, yeah. Cleveland. Who else is pretty bad? Cleveland's
it's New York teams is really bad.
New York teams. That's all I can really think of right now.
Not Boston. No. Boston tends to win a lot. All right, Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. We'll come back, close it out. Charlie Weiss Jr., new contract. We'll tell you about it next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
First American Bank and Trust. If Charlie Weiss Jr. is looking to put that money somewhere, how about First American Bank and Trust? Been here since 1910, just interwoven into the fabric of our communities here in Southeast Louisiana. There's always one near you. As I told you, I was down in Metairie waiting to get Myers from the airport back on Saturday and drove right by First American Bank and Trust. If you're in the river parishes, St. James, St. John's, Lafourche, Terrebonne, over in Hammond on I-12, you can find First American Bank and Trust. Their management, I was talking to the ownership there, their management averages 25 years with the bank. And that's because they want to be a part of the community. It's people that live here, that make decisions here. So if you're looking for a commercial loan, you're looking for personal loan, go with one of the community's finest. Go with people that walk around with you every day. Go with somebody who makes decisions here and wants what's best for our part of the world. Not somebody that you got to call through a call center in Seattle. It's First American Bank and Trust. You can check them out online or stop by one of their branches. First American Bank and Trust.
104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge and First American Bank and Trust bring you the Heart of the Game Award, recognizing student athletes who deliver when it counts. Nominate your game day standout at 1045ESPN.com by the 21st. We'll choose 5 male and 5 female finalists, and then it's up to the fans to vote for the winners. Each winner gets a $250 gift card, a custom award, and the spotlight they've earned. Presented by First American Bank and Trust, a banking tradition since 1910.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, we know each case and client are unique, and that no 2 cases are the same. But one thing remains constant, and that is our passion to help our clients. After an accident, we know your life has changed, which is why we passionately fight to make you and your family whole. Remember, whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. We're here to serve you.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
At Auctioner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Auctioner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one: you. Auctioner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Men, age is just a number. Don't let it dictate how you feel. Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness has anti-aging services that can help you look and feel your best. Visit yourgoodwood.com and discover a renewed sense of vitality.
These are the luckiest ice cubes in the world. They could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they've been called upon to cradle and cool a crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Looks like the lucky just got luckier. Dos Equis.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wrapping up hour number one here on a Wednesday edition of The Hunt Palmer Show. We talked about this a little bit earlier this week, so none of this is super surprising news. Wilson Alexander of The Advocate reporting that LSU and offensive coordinator Charlie Weis Jr. have reached an amended 3-year, $7.5 million deal this week per the new term sheet that Wilson Alexander has looked at. There was interest in Ole Miss keeping him, and I think this is me reading tea leaves. This is not me knowing for sure at all. I think when Lane Kiffin issued that ultimatum from Oxford, hey, if you're not a staffer and you want a job at LSU, you better get on the plane now on that Sunday. I think Charlie Weis got on that plane and said, I'm good to go to LSU with Lane Kiffin, but probably really wanted to coach this Ole Miss team in the playoff, which he's going back to do, and probably liked his time at Ole Miss. And then Pete Golding gets the job, and it's like, oh, there is actually some continuity there. Like, hey, Charlie, you want to come back? And, like, I get how that would work. Like, you've worked with this guy for multiple years. You could potentially take over that Ole Miss offense without Lane Kiffin over your shoulder, so that the perception nationally is that you're taking over that offense where you're not kind of hiding under Lane Kiffin's wings. How true that is or not, I don't know, but it just work with me. It makes some sense that he would look into that, and I think LSU realized that and said, we're not going to let that happen here, so let's get this done. And so they got it done with Charlie Weis Jr. I told you earlier this week that Ole Miss hired an offensive coordinator from East Carolina. So Charlie Weis is not going back there. Like, that ship sailed once you realize that Ole Miss is going to hire an offensive coordinator. So Charlie Weis will be at LSU. One of the interesting pieces to his contract here in Baton Rouge is that he will have a look-in clause that makes him the highest-paid SEC offensive coordinator as long as he's at LSU. And for those that are going, really? He was that at Ole Miss. He was the highest-paid offensive coordinator in the SEC when he was at Ole Miss. So clearly, Lane Kiffin sees a ton of value in Charlie Weis Jr. You realize you're in a deal where you're trying to manage resources with every aspect of the program. And while you realize that it's important to go get players at Ole Miss, you certainly realize that, and you feel that Lane Kiffin's got a great offense. To take that big a piece of the pie and give it to Charlie Weis Jr. while you're at Ole Miss suggests just how much he values Charlie Weis's input. So my thing is, this is really good for LSU's offensive brain trust to have Lane Kiffin, to have Charlie Weis Jr. That's a very good thing for LSU. And I also think that it does hurt Ole Miss to have both of those guys leave the building. And you realize that the wide receivers coach is gone as well. and you're looking at the quarterback coach that is gone as well. And like Ole Miss is going to see, some turnover on the offensive side of the football. We'll see if Kevin Smith comes from Ole Miss and does become the running backs coach. We don't have clarity on that yet. I think it makes sense that Kevin Smith would come here. Maybe Frank Wilson ultimately lands that job. We saw a story earlier today with Pete Nakos that had Frank as a serious candidate to be the running back coach at Texas. So there are some moving parts yet to be determined. But for LSU, you get Charlie Weiss to come work for Lane Kiffin. Those guys have made absolute magic in Oxford for the last few seasons. They have set offensive records all throughout Ole Miss's record books and have been one of the better offenses in college football. And you've got those guys under your roof. And at the same time, a team that you are going to play for the next 4 seasons, guaranteed. Ole Miss loses that brain trust, which I think would have created some continuity. And, oh, by the way, this is just speculation, but it's reasonable speculation at this point in the calendar. What players on that Ole Miss roster on offense that played for Lane Kiffin and played for Charlie Weiss would like to come? Now, I get it if there's not a mass exodus because some of those players feel like Lane Kiffin left them out in the cold. I would understand that. That was a player who signed on the dotted line, wanted my coach to be there for the playoff, for the biggest games, and he wasn't. I understand that there could be some resentment, and maybe that's not going to open the door for a bunch of guys to transfer to LSU. But maybe there are a bunch of guys that, hey, I like playing for Lane Kiffin, and that seems like a cool place to go play football. I've already transferred once. I'll transfer again, whatever. And maybe you do. So either way, I think this is a very big positive. I think if Lane Kiffin would have taken the LSU job and Charlie Weiss Jr. would have gone back to Oxford, I think that would have had a bit of a stinky dynamic to it for LSU. And you avoid that. You make Charlie Weiss the highest paid offensive coordinator in the SEC. 3-year, $7.5 million deal. And ultimately, as we speculated about it at LouisianaSports.net, Eric Wolford is going to be LSU's new offensive line coach. 2-year deal set to be approved by the Board of Supervisors tomorrow. He's got a ton of SEC experience as an offensive line coach, including a stint in Alabama. He's been at Kentucky most recently. So look at the LSU coaches on the offensive side of the football and how those contracts are going to shake out. We'll pause for SportsCenter. We'll come back after national headlines. We'll talk some LSU baseball. What did I learn over the last week? That's next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Speaking of baseball, how about Marucci's Hitter's House? That's baseball. You're looking for Christmas gifts for the youth baseball player, youth softball player under your roof. You can get it at the Hitter's House with great savings until Friday at 6 p.m. Things started up November 28th. They run through December 14th. You still got 4 days through the weekend, actually, to get your gear, your bats, your cleats, all the great brands like Marucci, Victus, Baum, Lizard Skin, The Stable, all at the Hitter's House at Marucci. And as I've been telling you every single day, if you go on the campus tour, you can get 20% off in the Hitter's House that same day. So to book that campus tour, you can go to maruccisports.com/campus-tour and book that tour. You can also get 15% off in the retail store with a membership to the Hitter's House. And with that membership, you get 24/7 access to the cages. It's the Hitter's House at Marucci, the Hitter's House at Marucci.
These ice cubes could have been a thankless bed for an all-you-can-eat salad bar. But instead, they cradle and cool the crisp, refreshing Dos Equis. Nicely done, ice cubes.
At Bayou Automotive, we believe in a sales process that puts you first. We want you to experience an easy purchase with clear pricing and great service. Let Bayou Ford and Bayou Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram be your trusted partners in finding your perfect vehicle. The crew at Bayou Automotive is going to do right by you.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Children's School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
Supreme Jasmine is premium American-grown rice. From local farms to your table, every grain is supreme. Pick up a bag of Jasmine or any other of our Supreme American rice.
With all the delicious chicken finger options, it was an impossible decision.
How about a box combo? Good. Now what can I get for you?
No, I want a Caniac combo with extra cane sauce, no slaw, 2 extra toast, and a half sweet tea, half lemonade.
Celebrate the holidays with Raising Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. We are honored and humbled to receive from our clients in Google. Based on 5-star client reviews, the designation of our law firm is highly recommended. Whether you hire us at all, please give us a call, 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith. Injuries happen when you least expect them to, making your life more complicated. At Locke Meredith Sean Fagan and Associates, we know this and we strive to help each of our clients during these times. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555.
We typically think of stress as being bad for us. At Our Lady of the Lake and LSU, we are researching how certain types of stress, such as exercise, can be good for our immune health. By studying people under extreme stress, such as athletes, astronauts, service members, and first responders, we're learning how to improve the immune health of everyone. That's the power of research. That's the impact of champions. Together, we roar.
ED, low T, or simply seeking to optimize your health and performance? Goodwood Men's Sexual Wellness offers a range of discreet services to address your specific needs. We empower men to reclaim their health and confidence. Visit yourgoodwood.com.
I'm Gabrielle McLeod on behalf of the Louisiana Propane Dealers. I have spent hundreds of hours preparing for scholarship competitions. That preparation paid off when I won the Fitness and Talent Awards along with the title of Miss Louisiana. The Louisiana Propane Dealers are also pretty talented and want you to be prepared.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Quarterback Phillip Rivers took some snaps today at Colts practice. Indy banged up at QB, seriously considering playing the 44-year-old Sunday in Seattle if he shows himself worthy in this week's practices. Riley Leonard's status remains uncertain because of a knee injury. Coach Shane Steichen said they'll see how it goes and make the decision at the end of the week. The mental part of the game, no problem for Rivers, says ESPN NFL analyst Jeff Saturday.
Neck up, man, he's going to be just fine. Like, he's seen it. He knows defenses. He knows what guys are trying to disguise as. Against air, it's going to look great, right? Against scout team, it's going to look fantastic. When you go get them dudes who get paid a lot of money to not let that happen, they start jumping routes and get physical receiver and the timing gets off. And now you got to worry about pressure bearing down on you.
Jeff Saturday on Unsportsmanlike. Rivers last played in an NFL game in January 2021. Commanders QB Jaden Daniels out Sunday with a left elbow injury. There is a chance he returns next week against the Eagles. First baseman Pete Alonso and the Orioles finalizing a 5-year, $155 million deal, reports ESPN's Jeff Passan.
Hey, it's your resident Super Bowl champ Chris Candy coming up Thursday. Rich Paul said LeBron James and the Lakers aren't contenders. I'll tell you why he's right. It's Unsportsmanlike, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Now, The Hunt Palmer Show. This is a catastrophe. You are now listening to The Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
That's what I wished for when I blew out my candle.
Locking down the middle of the day. Live from the Raising Cane studio. This is Hunt Palmer.
The floor is yours.
Hour 2, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Half that work week officially in the rearview mirror. We're working towards the weekend. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Jawan Johnson headed to the transfer portal. We'll talk about it in 15 minutes. LSU's got an offensive line coach. We'll talk about that as well. JD Pickell talking all things national college football storylines at the bottom of hour number 2. I told you at the top of the show that we were going to get into some LSU baseball today, and promise delivered here as we're going to do it now. Generally speaking, last week is the week that I get into that when the football season ends and you start to kind of look towards a bowl game that's really far away and that you don't know anything about yet. And it just wasn't going to work out because National Signing Day was last week and LSU just hired a football coach. So, absolutely no chance I was going to get into a lot of baseball last week. Y'all know me. Y'all know I would like to. I'm not a clown. I'm not going to do that when it's one of the most newsworthy weeks that I've ever covered in LSU athletics on the radio. So last week, not a good week. This week, it's a very good week for it. LSU basketball is completely off. The students are in finals. Football, the signing classes in the rearview mirror. Portal's not completely open yet. We're not going to talk about LSU Houston right now. It's a good spot to get into a little bit of baseball. So I made some calls. I had some discussions with some folks in the LSU baseball program and kind of gleaned a lot, really, about what went on in the fall. And I want to, before we get into this discussion full-fledged, be very clear with y'all because I do this every year. What is true on December the 9th is not necessarily even close to true on April 21st. Like, there is a long way to go through this process. I'm strictly reacting to some track records and to about 5-6 weeks of baseball that didn't count. So keep in mind, like this time last year, Anthony Ianson was not right at the top of the list of LSU starting pitchers. This time last year, Cade Anderson was, but wasn't Cade Anderson yet. 2 years ago at this point, Stephen Milam was nowhere near the starting lineup. He became your most impactful hitter in the regional on a team that had Tommy White and Jared Jones as a true freshman. So you realize that there's a long way to go here. And a lot of this stuff is not going to carry over into the spring, and a lot of it will. But you realize what you're getting into when you discuss a lot of fall baseball. So as long as we've got that caveat out of the way, I'll tell you kind of what I learned. There is basically only one spot on the entire defense that's kind of in flux right now. Cade Arambiti's the catcher. Zach York's the first baseman. Stephen Milam is the shortstop. Trent Caraway is the third baseman. And then from left to right in the outfield is Chris Stanfield, Derek Curiel, and Jake Brown. Like, it would, at this point, surprise me a little bit if that didn't hold. It could not. They start practice this January 10th, and if they go for 4 weeks and somebody wins a corner infield spot that's not Trent Caraway or Zach York, that's possible. Right now, that feels very, very likely. York is a better defender than I probably thought when I watched him move around a little bit. He's got a big 6'2" frame, really big, and he's not going to be a Gold Glover over there, but he can move okay. And Trent Caraway from Oregon State at third base has really played good defense since coming over. Now, he's going to be one of these guys that Jay Johnson's going to have to do his transfer portal magic on to unlock a different level of his offensive game, because despite the fact that he hit the most home runs in the history of Oregon State baseball in a single postseason, which is saying a lot based on the teams they've had the last 15 years, he had a bad year last year. He had a bad year. He hit 6 home runs. And he hit 5 in the regional and 1 more beyond that in the postseason. But he had a bad year. They're going to do an overhaul in his offensive game. But he's proving that he can handle third base. And this is something I talk about all the time. Third base defense in college can be a problem for teams because just about everybody at the highest level has a slick fielding shortstop. You can hide somebody at second, throw somebody in left field, it's fine. But third base, like sometimes you try to hide somebody there, the ball will find you, and you will make errors at third base. And Caraway has done a good job defensively at third base, so that's a good thing. And I don't expect Caraway to be asked to hit second or third on this team. I think Caraway's a bottom half of the order guy. But there's huge upside there. He was a big-time recruit coming out of California. He showed some of the pop that can show up when he was at Oregon State. He's got to put it all together, and Jay Johnson's the guy to make that happen. But the point being, like, all those places are pretty well solidified. Second base is the only one up for grabs right now. And so you've got an option where Seth Dardar comes in from Kansas State. Braden Simpson comes in from High Point. Both those guys had huge offensive years last year. And then Tanner Reeves is back as well, who did not play defense well at third base last year and lost his job because of it, and Braswell had to take over. But he's been much better at second base, where I think it's an easier position to play. So those three guys are probably going to see a lot of at-bats early on. The DH spot is very available to them as well for continued at-bats. But I think those three guys are going to duke it out for second base in the DH spot, and you're going to see a lot of early at-bats for those guys. The guy I want to focus on of that whole group, and we did a little bit on Caraway, Cade Arambiti led LSU in hitting in the fall. He hit well over 400. Derek Curiel was second. Cade Arambiti was first. And that is an incredible development. And the LSU staff is really comfortable with Cade's progress here. He was a big draft risk coming out of Houston. And then he got to LSU, and you were able to ease him in behind Luis Hernandez. He got some starts. He played in over 30 games. He got 80 at-bats, or plate appearances, I should say. And he got his feet wet. And then he went off to the Cape and got some more at-bats, and he got some more at-bats in the fall. And now the tools that he brings to the table are really starting to show up. And I think that's an awesome thing. He is as toolsy a catcher as LSU has had in a very long time. And it showed up in the fall. Now, it's got to translate to the spring. And I don't think he's going to hit 450 in the spring. But he's comfortable in the box now. And this is against LSU's staff. This is not all just fun and games against walk-ons. Like, he's facing LSU pitching, swinging the bat really well. So that's an exciting thing for Cade Arrambidi. The other piece to this is, and I addressed this in a What If, I think 2 weeks ago, the internet abuzz on Derek Curiel, and he got hurt and he broke his ankle. Derek Curiel's fine, okay? Derek Curiel will be completely fine when they come back from Christmas. A little bit of a tweak of the ankle in the weight room. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. He'll be fine first week of January to get going. So that's a look kind of at the position player side of things. Pitching is where I think the most question marks loom, because I told you that I think 7 of the 8 positions on the diamond, aside from pitcher, the 7 of the 8 are pretty well settled right now. Could change, but settled right now. So what about starting pitching? It's a question I get all the time from LSU fans, like, who's the starting rotation? Well, Casey Evans is the Friday night guy. He's first up. Brilliant year last year. Shut it down for the summer after a big workload. He's up and ready to roll. Who's behind him? Well, there's a group right now. And this is very much subject to change because there's talent beyond this group. This is the group right now that they're looking at. Cooper Moore was Kansas's ace last year. Does LSU want Cooper Moore to be its ace this year? No. Probably not a Friday guy right now in the SEC. Saturday? Yeah. Sunday? Absolutely. He's a high floor guy. A little bit undersized, 6'1", right-handed, not going to throw 97, but pitch mix, has gotten outs in the power 4, had a strikeout to walk ratio of 4.5 to 1 last year as a starter at Kansas. High floor, Cooper Moore. Zach Cowan, same type deal. Started at Wofford, was their ace. Can he pitch in the SEC? Yeah, he proved it last year. But he's not going to throw 98. He's 5'11". So it's a high floor there. But where's the ceiling on those guys? Not astronomically high. And that's my concern a little bit with this roster. If there's one thing that I can try to nitpick at, it's like, okay, where is the high ceiling? Where is Jump Holman? Where is Anderson Ianson? It's a high bar to clear every year. But if you're going to see that, William Schmidt is probably going to have to plug in there behind Casey Evans. Now, Schmidt threw a ton of strikes this fall. He was up to 99 miles an hour. He was sitting comfortably 96, 97. What they're working on with William Schmidt is that he right now is really good with the fastball and the slider. He can throw those 2 pitches. What about the curveball? What about the changeup? What about the soft pitches? You got to be able to get SEC hitters off balance where there's enough variability between the fastball and the true off-speed stuff you throw that's not the hard slider. And like the last time I saw William Schmidt this fall, he struck out 6 guys in 2 innings, okay? So the stuff is there. But he's got to put it all together, and he's got to work on those softer pitches. And then you've got Cooper Williams, who's another guy that I don't know what the ceiling is on Cooper Williams. But I saw him get big outs in the postseason for LSU last year as a freshman. So the question is, can he go 6 innings as a number 2 starter? Or is he better served going through 9 hitters? Everybody sees him once. Remains to be seen. But right now, behind Evans, Cooper Moore, Zach Cowens, William Smith, Cooper Williams, those are the guys. 2 Coopers, William Schmidt and Zach Cowan. But you've got where you have indecision at starting pitcher. And I have some concern about the starting pitcher because it's not proven and I'm looking for a little more upside. The upside comes in the bullpen, okay? They believe, the LSU staff, people I talk to over there, that you'd like to shorten games with your starting pitcher. They get you through 6 or 7 innings. And now you've shortened it where you only got to get 6 or 9 more outs. What if you shortened it from the back end? This is what they're looking at early in the season right now. Because you look at the talent in this bullpen. You look at Devin Sheeran, who was throwing 97, striking everybody out, 6'5", 245. First word that came out of the conversation I had yesterday's mouth was awesome. He looks great and healthy. Marcos Paz, freshman, already 20 pounds heavier than Casey Evans, 6'2" right-hander, throwing 98 miles an hour. But he's coming off of surgery from Tommy John. He'll be 18 months removed when they start the season. He's not a candidate in February and March to throw 5 or 6 innings. He's a candidate to throw 1 or 2. And he can do that emptying the tank, and he can be awesome in that role, just diesel. You already know about Maverick Rizzi, who's 6'9" and throwing 98 miles an hour. Joe Healy, who we have on during baseball season, said the best inning I saw in the Cape this year was Maverick Rizzi. A name I wasn't expecting to hear, Grant Fontenot, who has always been talented. He came to LSU out of high school, threw hard, went to Texas when he transferred, now back. Like I said, well, what? I mean, he hasn't really done anything. Like, why him? And what I was told was some guys mature at different levels. Some guys find it a little bit later. Some guys develop a little bit later. They love what they saw from Grant Fontenot, who throws hard. And then you've got Gavin Guidry, who to me looks like a different guy. I saw him twice in the fall, and he's not going to throw 97 miles an hour. But he was throwing 4 pitches when I saw him, and I confirmed that yesterday. And the fastball is still 92, 93, but he's got that good breaking ball. He's got a second breaking ball that he was throwing, and he was featuring a changeup, which he did not throw 2 years ago. So right there, that's Sheeran, Paz, Rizzi, Fontenot, Guidry. That's 5 guys that they feel really good about. And I haven't even gotten to Jaden Newt, who, oh, by the way, last year in SEC games had 12 strikeouts against 2 walks with an opposing batting average of 194. That's depth in the LSU bullpen. And you're going, well, those guys are all right-handed, and they are. But you've got Santiago Garcia from Oregon. You've got Ethan Plog from junior college. The staff loves those 2 guys as lefty matchup guys out of the bullpen. And that doesn't even mention Danny Lockenmeyer and DJ Primo, who's back. So you do have 4 veteran left-hand options to go with all these bullets in the back end of the bullpen. The bullpen's the strength right now of this team in terms of the upside. So in totality with this team right now, and I haven't gotten to everything, I thought Omar Cerna looked really impressive as a true freshman slugger. I think Mason Braun has a chance to be a really good player at LSU, who's a freshman from South Bend. But when you look at this team, big picture, what do we learn from the fall? Second base is kind of the only place that's a little bit up for grabs right now. Starting pitching, there are options there. The upside might be a little bit low on some of them, but you do have options. And then where you're trying to work through your starting pitching, the bullpen needs to come in and be a force early until you can get your footing on the ground with what you're going to be from a pitching perspective. That's kind of a big picture look at where things are with this LSU baseball team as they exit the fall. They'll take a few weeks off. It's finals week this week. Most of the guys are already gone home, I'm told. And so they'll come back second week of January, and they'll get to it. And we'll get things cranked up second week of February for some LSU baseball. If you want to read more with some numbers, some more quotes from my conversations with LSU baseball, you can do that for free on the homepage at louisianasports.net right now. Free preview of everything that I kind of talked about there and even a little bit more on this LSU baseball team. I know y'all want it. I got access to the numbers of the clicks on the website. I know what clicks are good and what clicks is not a great story. The baseball story's done really well, not surprisingly, this morning as I put it up at 8 o'clock. So I know y'all are out there looking for some LSU baseball, and there's a little bit for you there. Let's get back to football. LSU had a running back at the transfer portal. I'll tell you who coming up next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Highland Insurance Group. HighlandIG.com is that website. I've been telling you for months with the Highland Insurance Group about their property and casualty department, which is phenomenal. They will absolutely help you with that if you're a business and looking for P&C. But they also are in the business of helping businesses with their benefits, with your health insurance. It's very important for businesses, as you know, if you're a business owner, because you got to acquire talent, you got to retain talent, and the benefits are a big piece of that. And if you're with a certain carrier that Jonathan was telling me about 2 weeks ago, where the rates are going up and up and up and up, you might be looking for a change. And if you're just looking for a second option because your renewal on your benefits continues to skyrocket, talk to the Highland Insurance Group. They've got options. They're an independent broker, so it can reach more carriers. It can reach more companies that are willing to help you work through your benefits, and they got a great team of experts over there at the Highland Insurance Group. So if you are a business owner and you're not comfortable with your renewal, reach out to the Highland Insurance Group. They're here in Baton Rouge. You can find them online at HighlandIG.com. It's the Highland Insurance Group, HighlandIG.com.
I'm lawyer Collins Locke Meredith.
Among the most important factors to consider when you're hiring an injury attorney is trust. You trust your attorney will put your interest first, treat you with respect, fairness, and honesty. You trust them to be there for you when you need them. At Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates, thousands of clients have trusted us to represent them, and for good reasons. Please visit us at LockeMeredith.com to learn more, and whether you hire us at all, give us a call at 272-5555. You have nothing to lose.
Today, we are shaping tomorrow.
We are researching how extreme stress impacts the immune system, from trauma victims to athletes and even astronauts.
Our work is leading the way in sepsis treatment, saving countless lives.
We're unlocking the mind with music in exciting new ways.
Our Lady of the Lake Health and LSU are improving the health of our state.
That's the impact of champions.
Imagine the impact we'll have on the future. Together, we roar.
After a decade of working in private duty nursing, I know how hard it can be to find compassionate care for the ones that you love the most. So I started Decision Critical, a premier concierge nursing agency, so we can take care of you wherever you are. Our highly skilled nurses provide exceptional care from the comfort of your own home with personalized packages for short-term, long-term, or even around-the-clock care. Visit us at decisioncriticalbr.com and give us a call today to get started.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs. Set your limit. Learn more about healthy gambling habits by visiting us online or text or call for free confidential help now.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. And when you're cooking with clean, affordable propane, you're cooking with gas. In the wintertime, nothing heats a home like Louisiana propane. And when you need hot water, propane's got you covered. Oh, and you won't regret that propane generator when the power goes out. I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and to find more information...
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Wednesday show is brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools. Invite you to check out some of their work at builtbyrenaissance.com. The beauty of working with Renaissance Homes and Pools is you work with a local company. That's the beauty. You work with my guy, Joey Blanchard. He's done it for dozens and dozens of folks around the Baton Rouge area, and he's happy to do it for you. You work with him every step of the way. Joey's there for the initial consultation. He's there for the design. He's there for the digging of the pool. He's there for the filling of the pool. He's there for the finish of the pool. So you know that you're working with somebody who's invested in what's going on in your backyard because he owns the company. Small business, it's a Baton Rouge-based business, and they're happy to put you in the pool of your dreams. Infinity Edge, cocktail pool, whatever you're looking for, the folks at Renaissance Homes and Pools can do it for you. And I want to remind you, like, just because it's wet and dreary outside right now doesn't mean it's not a great time to start the process of getting into a pool so that it's ready to go by the time the weather heats up again in the spring. So contact them at builtbyrenaissance.com, builtbyrenaissance.com. All right, LSU had another transfer portal reported entry today, and I think these are going to be coming fast and furious. That's just the nature of the sport, especially when you got a coaching change. And so none of them are jarring to me when they happen, and this one certainly was not. Jawan Johnson is looking for a new home. He'll enter the transfer portal, according to Matt Zenitz of CBS Sports. You know, I want to give a lot of credit to Jawan Johnson because Jawan Johnson did whatever LSU asked of him for 2 years. He came in as a 4-star recruit, the most accomplished high school football player in the history of the state of Louisiana in terms of total yards and touchdowns. And they said, okay, Jawan, you played quarterback at LCA. I want you to come play the star. I want you to play right behind Major Burns at practice. And Jawan Johnson came in and played the star. And then, 2 weeks into the season, John Emery tore his ACL. And Trey Holly was gone. And they looked around and they had no numbers at running back. And they said, Jawan, need you to go play running back. So he said, okay. And he went and played running back. He played running back all year. And then got to spring football, and you were a little bit light on numbers at quarterback. Bryce Underwood didn't come. You didn't get one in the high school class. It's kind of Garrett Nussmeier and Michael Van Buren. We need you to play quarterback, Jawan. Got to play quarterback. And so Jawan Johnson went and played quarterback and worked with the quarterbacks. We watched him in all of spring practice, and he was working with the quarterbacks. And then said, hey, it's fall now. Jawan, I think we need you to play running back again. And he went and played running back again. It's like the Michael Scott thing. Snip, 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 snip. And he just kept going back. And he did it with bells on. And Jawan Johnson never really found a true position here at LSU. He played 25 games. In 25 games, he had 45 carries for 165 yards and 2 touchdowns. He caught 22 passes for 94 yards and another touchdown. That was in the game the first week he was playing running back. He came in and caught a touchdown pass. And he completed a 14-yard pass earlier this year. So you look at his path here, and he never got to really hone in and focus on one thing. And I think an athlete as gifted as he is could excel if given the opportunity to do that. And Jawan Johnson told us in media availability earlier this fall that, hey, I want to play running back. I want to be a running back. And he got some of those opportunities, but like Caden Durham is going to take precedence there, and Harlan Berry wrestled away his lion's share of the reps, and all of a sudden there just wasn't a lot left for Jawan Johnson. And Caden Durham still got 2 years of eligibility left. Harlan Berry still got 3 years of eligibility left. So they're in front of Jawan Johnson, assuming they stay, which is a big assumption, for the rest of his career here. So he's going to look elsewhere, and I don't blame him for that at all. It wouldn't surprise me if he went to a lower level and played quarterback. Wouldn't surprise me if he caught on at a Power 5 team and became a really good running back, because he's got great size. He knows what to do with the football. Good athlete. But he's leaving. Reportedly into the transfer portal. So what does that leave LSU with at running back? Well, I mentioned you've got Caden Durham and you've got Harlan Berry. And you've got Caleb Jackson, who's on the roster right now. But Caleb Jackson didn't play in 4 games this year and hasn't played in 2 months. And, I don't know anything about Caleb Jackson. I'm not reporting. I'm just speculating and just surveying the situation. Would it surprise anyone if Caleb Jackson got in the transfer portal? I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. He's been at LSU for 3 years. He didn't play a lot. I mean, he didn't play the 2/3 of the year in his 3rd year on campus here at LSU. So LSU, if Caleb Jackson were to leave and Jawan Johnson decides to leave, you got 2 scholarship running backs and you don't have one in your signing class. So you've got real work to do in the transfer portal at running back. But I have good news. You have a lot of talent in Caden Durham and Harlan Berry, and you've got a coach who has piloted as productive a running attack as there has been in the Southeastern Conference over the last 5 seasons. Last year, they weren't great running it, and that's probably what held him back. But the years prior to that, he's led the SEC in rushing. This is an Ole Miss team that has finished in top 5 in the country in rushing. So I don't think it's going to be difficult for Lane Kiffin to target and acquire a running back in the transfer portal. This is a really attractive place to come in terms of the efficiency with which Lane Kiffin teams run the ball. Now, what is this LSU offensive line going to be? I don't know. Is Harlan Berry going to be here? I don't know. Is Caden Durham going to be here? I don't know. Is Frank Wilson going to be here? I don't know. There are a lot of uncertainties that surround this. And I don't want anybody that's jumping in their car to go, wait a second, Harlan Berry and Caden Durham are transferring? I did not say that. Every single player on LSU's roster is a what if for next year to me. All of them. Every single player in that program is a what if to me until they're not. So that's why I put Caden Durham and Harlan Berry in the what if there. All of them are. But this is an attractive place to come run the football with that offensive mind. They've got to beef it up on the offensive line, and they've got to get running backs in the program. But I think LSU will run the ball, and I think they'll do just fine from that perspective. I just, again, hat tipped at Jawan Johnson for what he did. He was asked to do a lot of different things, none of which was super conducive to his development as a football player, specifically for the next level. But he always did it. And to us, told us he was happy to do it. He didn't ask to sit out in red shirt. He played in every game. He produced when he was asked to, and now he'll look elsewhere to play his college football. So the transfer portal going to be a lot of news over the next 2 weeks. We know that. Jawan Johnson made the announcement today. He is headed into the transfer portal. He'll look elsewhere. The Louisiana all-time leader in high school total yards and touchdowns. So let's take a time out. Talk to J.D. Pickell of On 3 next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
One Bath and Closets. OneBathAndClosets.com is the website. David Duvall and his team, 30 years redesigning and remodeling bathrooms and closets. I was talking to David just a couple of weeks ago, and he mentioned something that they see a good bit of. If this sounds familiar and you don't really like it, well, we can make a phone call. You walk into your bathroom and there's a standalone shower, and then you've got a huge jacuzzi-style tub next to it. And like you spend a lot of time in the standalone shower, but it's getting up there in age, and you never go into the jacuzzi-style tub. It just takes a ton of room up in your bathroom. Well, make some changes. David Duvall and his team at One Bath and Closets have the ability to transform that space. They can take out that standing shower and put in a linen closet, and then they can take out that tub and put in a walk-in shower, and they're perfectly equipped and insured to do that, to install plumbing and to take out plumbing, and they can handle your floor work as well and all the vanities. They can transform your bathroom. So if you're not happy with the functionality or the look of your current bathroom, your house is 30 years old or so and hasn't been redone since it's spilled, talk to David Duvall in One Bath and Closets. Get that free consultation. It doesn't cost you anything. Chat with them about what they can do for you. It's One Bath and Closets. You can find them online at onebathandclosets.com.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Every winner knows a great play starts with a solid game plan and the right team by your side. At Sunshine, we're here to keep your operation running strong. From tractors to harvesters, we've got the John Deere equipment you need to tackle every job with confidence. Because when the work's done right, there's more time for the things that matter, like cheering on your favorite team. Make Sunshine Quality Solutions part of your playbook this season and learn more about what it means to be powered by Sunshine at sunequip.com.
I'm Lawyer Locke Meredith. If you're battling an insurance company because of a wreck not your fault and they're not calling you back or being fair, whether you hire us at all, give us a call, 272-5555, or email Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates. You have nothing to lose.
Hello, I'm Collins Meredith. If you've been injured on the job, you'll likely have a workers' compensation claim, but you may also have a tort claim, which opens up significant recovery rights not normally available for a work injury. If this is you, call us or come see us at Locke Meredith, Sean Fagan and Associates.
Most roofers just replace your shingles. At Pelican, we diagnose your roof, digging deep down to find the root cause of your roof symptoms. Now cough for me? Good. We don't ignore your roof's issues, we address them. Let's just take care of this right here, helping your roof to become the best version of itself. Interesting that you would say that. How does that make you feel? So call Pelican Roofing for your free roof checkup today.
Looking for cleaner energy? Propane is energy for everyone. Propane water heaters are very cost efficient, and the savings are even greater with a tankless propane water heater. We all know that Louisiana propane is a safe and environmentally friendly fuel. So why not go green while you save some green? I'm Miss Louisiana, Gabrielle McLeod, and for more information, visit louisianapropane.com.
Sometimes you ignore the signs, even when they're right in front of you. Problem gambling isn't always easy to spot. Know the signs.
You're listening to The Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
failure happens to us all, but it's how champions evolve. The only thing that matters from a loss is if you get back up when you fall. You gotta get up.
Chugging along here, Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Always our pleasure to chat with our guy, JD Pickell, host of the Hard Count on 3 Sports. You can find him on YouTube, wherever you find your podcast. College football all year long, and no better time than the college football playoff, which is about to start cranking up here. JD, how we doing?
Doing well, man. Doing well. It's always that interesting part of the year where it's mostly just the sickos that are dialed in. Like, I think the college football playoff runway is something that I think we're still perfecting when it comes to conference title games and then lead time before the playoff and all that. So, like, I think we lose some people in the lull, but the sickos, they're locked in. They're all the way locked in.
What'd
so
you learn?
Yeah,
for sure. What'd you learn conference championship weekend on the field?
I learned that, I want to make sure I say this the correct way. I think Georgia's going to the national championship, and that was bolstered by conference title weekend in my estimation. I think Indiana is probably right now the best team in college football, given what the ranking is and also what we saw new to Ohio State. But I don't know if you feel this way. It feels a little bit to me like Indiana, if they played that game with Ohio State 10 times, maybe they'd split, and they're going to have to probably play Oregon a second time. I like Georgia's chops. I like the way they're trending. The fact we got to see them play a team they lost to early on in the year in the conference title game and blow the doors off them speaks to the growth. I think Georgia's trending up. I think everyone else is fighting to reset. I learned that Georgia is going to be a freaking wagon in the playoff. I think they're going to win the whole thing.
Ohio State, any concern there or just not enough?
It's just not enough. Like, that was the first time that I think you could point to some of the inexperiences maybe showing themselves for Ohio State. A lot of new pieces. We talked about that ad nauseum this year. I'm not concerned about Ohio State so much as I just think they kind of lost some of those competitive plays that win you football games, and that's kind of what it comes down to. Like, if that field goal goes through, or if they convert on that 4th and 1 on the sneak, the game's probably a little bit different. I think the one thing that makes me a touch uneasy if I'm a Buckeye fan is that is the second week in a row now where you've played 2 good line of scrimmage football teams, and both of them ran for over 100 yards against you. Now, the defense still allowed 13 points, so, like, it's hard to say Ohio State's got massive problems. But I feel a little bit like, hey, you get on the same field as a Georgia, who you would have to be on the same field as in a semifinal game, more than likely. I don't love the way that shapes up matchup-wise. So I don't think less of Ohio State, but I think if I'm looking at potential matchups for them, I don't feel as good about them as maybe I would have a couple weeks ago.
All right, let's talk about the selection. What you think about Miami and Notre Dame and Alabama?
Alabama ever being a question to me, Hunt? I don't know if you feel this way. I think that was always just, like, hilarious to begin with. I think SEC bias is real to a degree. I think as real as SEC bias is, I think anti-SEC bias is a real thing. And I get it. Like, I grew up in Georgia for a part of my childhood, and people barking at you is weird and annoying. So I totally get it. But I think, like, there was this narrative that, like, Bama lost to Georgia so badly, so therefore Bama should be out. A lot of the people conveniently shouting that at the top of their lungs were the same people shouting a year ago, before a snap had even been played of the ACC title game between Clemson and SMU, that no matter what, SMU, they should be in because, quote unquote, the games have to matter. So, like, Bama should have always been in. That was always, I think, not even a discussion in my mind. The Miami Notre Dame thing, I get where it was handled if you're a Notre Dame fan, being as high as you were in the rankings until the very last ranking. Like, that's a very weird thing to have happen. It's probably not. It probably should have happened earlier. Hunt is my take on that, obviously. But yeah, I think the right thing happened for both sides of this.
What do you think about the media blitz from Pete Bevekwa just going nuts that everybody that'll listen that they've gotten cheated out of it and the ACC hates them and that they got to change everything about the college football playoff?
Yeah, I think we're mad at the wrong people there probably. You know, like, beat A&M or beat Miami.
Yep.
And then you're not even having this discussion, you know? So I get it. I think everyone's got a safe face and everyone's got allegiances, and, you know, legitimately, it's probably his job to find a reason. It's probably his job to be upset. And it probably hurts his bottom line that it happened the way it happened. But, you know, I mean, I don't read too much into it, to be honest here. I will say this. When they go back to renegotiate the next college football playoff format, Notre Dame and Pete Bevekwa are leaving with some guarantees. And I think that's pretty safe to say. So I don't think we'll find ourselves in this situation again, think Notre Dame will have some verbiage there that guarantees them a spot so long as they are within that top 12.
Boise State got a bye last year, and we made changes. Now we've got Tulane and JMU both in the field. Are more changes coming?
Oh, 100%. 100%. There'll be 3 changes, and I'll try to be efficient with these.
Yes.
1, we're going to 16. There's too many teams with big brands and important people in charge are going to lobby and say, hey, why were we not included? We need to expand this playoff. And the people that can make money will say, yeah, you're right. Let's have more games, make more money, let's have more inventory, and we'll go from there. Second change will be what we just said a second ago. The G5 is going to have the loophole closed on getting more than one team in. It will be one G5 team in. Other auto bids are assigned to other conferences. And G5, thanks for having 2 teams last year. That was fun, but that was on us, not on y'all for being a top 5 or having 2 of the highest ranked conference champions. So that loophole will be closed. Third change we're going to see, it pains me, but I think we're going to see the death of conference title games. I think if you're Georgia or Alabama, you're like, why the heck did we beat the crap out of each other for 3 hours? And now we got to go play in a college football playoff. That doesn't make a ton of sense. Even with a bye, it doesn't make a ton of sense for Georgia. So I think we'll see play-in games for more than likely 2 spots for the Big Ten and the SEC, and then maybe 1 spot for the ACC and the Big 12. But it'll be, 3 versus 6, 4 versus 5. That's the next change that I think we'll see. So those 3 changes for the future of the playoff, I think, starting next year, Hunt.
We'll get into matchups next week. That's probably not the time for it right now. So I'm curious your thoughts on Penn State's process and result getting Matt Campbell.
Feels like it was a half-court buzzer beater, huh? We're sitting here talking about Penn State's job and who they're going to hire and should they have fired James Franklin. And lo and behold, if they had hired Matt Campbell when everyone was hiring their head coach on that Sunday, would anyone have batted an eye and said, man, Penn State, that's a weird hire. Man, you guys really got the second choice there for you. Now, I think Matt Rule and Signetti are probably, choices 1A and 1B, but you landed Matt Campbell. I think that's a pretty good get, honestly. So if they had gone with the interim, I wouldn't have loved that for them. That would have felt like a swing and a miss in relation to just what Penn State is as a brand, who they should be able to go hire. So I think Matt Campbell is a good hire when it comes to splash. I also think he's a good hire when it comes to setting the floor of Penn State football. Iowa State was not anything to even mention in the world of college football before Matt Campbell. And so the way he elevated them, I like the fact that he is after a national title himself. It's why you go to a job like Penn State, and it's why you hire Matt Campbell if you're Penn State. You're trying to hire the next hungry dog. So I think it was an overall, to not be super vanilla about this, but I think it was a pretty solid hire.
All right, how do you feel about the Heisman Trophy? You feeling Mendoza's going to win it, and should he?
I think he's going to win it, to answer what you just said right there. I think Diego Pavia is the best player in college football. Now, this is a show that is reaching, I'm sure, many folks with SEC fanhood, so This is not just to cater to the audience, but I will say this. I personally was lower on Diego Pavia when it came to the Heisman stuff for the majority of the season. The reason being, I was holding my breath, waiting for somebody during conference title weekend to grab the trophy by the throat and say, I'm the freaking guy. And the Big Ten title game happened, and Mendoza didn't do it for me. There was nobody in any of the other title games that would be in that position to go take it. And so I zoomed out, did some self-reflecting, and I'm like, man, I think the Heisman moment for Diego Pavia wasn't in one specific Saturday snapshot like we're used to. It was the fact that he made Vanderbilt football 10-2. That statement itself is wild 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Vanderbilt football 10-2, the quarterback they have running that show and the way that he's elevated that football team, I think he is very much so deserving of the number one player in the country. And I think if I were giving out the Heisman, he would be the one that would receive it.
All right, last one. Take out the top 4 seeds. So take out Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, and Texas Tech. Who of the teams that have to play in the first round do you think could legitimately win the national championship if there is one?
I think it's Oregon. I think Oregon's actually going to play for the national championship. And that's not just because they're the next highest seed. I think they are so complete, and they, similar to what we've talked about with teams flying under the radar. Oregon, at one point in time after Penn State, were like, hey, are they a top 3 team in college football? There was a conversation we had at one point, Hunt, where it was like, hey, would you take Ohio State, Miami, or Oregon, or the field for a national championship? That was a conversation we had over the course of this season, and we've just kind of all dismissed it since they lost to Indiana. I think Dante Moore is like Diet Cam Ward in my estimation. I think Dan Lanning is a psychopath, and more importantly, he is a fixer. I would be shocked if we saw them look lackluster in round 1 or 2 of the playoff game, and then they'd be in a spot there if they beat Texas Tech after beating JMU, where they set themselves up with a rematch against Indiana. And it's hard to beat a team twice, to put that simply. So I think Oregon's going to play for a national championship, and I feel really good about what they have in-house.
We'll talk about matchups next week. Have a great weekend. Thanks, JD.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate you, man. Have a great one.
You too. JD Pickell, host of The Hard Count on 3 Sports, wherever you find your college football content, whether it's YouTube, podcast pages, The Hard Count. JD does an awesome job there. All right, let's come back and close it out next.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Renaissance Homes and Pools. Renaissance Homes and Pools. If you're looking to get into the pool of your dreams, contact my guy, Joey Blanchard. I give you his phone number every single week. It's the owner of the company's phone number. That's who you get. That's who you're going through. Not a call center. Not somebody who's got to check up the horn and then come back to you to set things up. No, it's Joey. It's his cell. It's 225-252-7745. 225-252-7745. You call Joey. You set up that consultation. He talks to you about what they can do for you, whether it's your pool, your outdoor kitchen, that entertaining area that you've always wanted to have. Make it a reality before the springtime. Contact Joey at that number or at builtbyrenaissance.com and start that design process. It's exciting. It's exhilarating. It's fun. It can be overwhelming at times. That's why you work with the owner of the company to work through it. The software that he's got that can be to scale, show you exactly what that pool is going to look like, is just incredible. He showed it to me when we were meeting a couple months ago. Go see some of their work at builtbyrenaissance.com. Contact Joey and get started on the pool or the outdoor kitchen of your dreams. He's done it for dozens and dozens and dozens of folks around the Baton Rouge area. He can do it for you next. It's Renaissance Homes and Pools, builtbyrenaissance.com.
In South Louisiana, you can always count on good people coming together to help our children.
At Dreams Come True, we grant wishes for Louisiana children with life-threatening illnesses. But to do this, we need funds.
That's why we're trying to raise $100,000 for Dreams Come True by giving away the Blessed Children's School.
Make your backyard's dream come true while helping our kids.
Just go to dreampoolla.com and you can find out how your $25 donation might help win you a Duplessis pool.
This menu is a masterpiece, delivers every time.
This is the worst party ever. Raisin Cane's!
Let's go!
The party is saved!
Peter, Mr. Billingsley.
Celebrate the holidays with Raisin Cane's Chicken Fingers. One love.
South Louisiana, it's turnaround season, and River Parish Contractors is calling in the best of the best. We're hiring pipe fitters, iron workers, boiler makers, combo and structural welders, rig welders, carpenters, crane operators, dirt operators, and more. If you're ready to work, ready to earn, and ready to build something that lasts, call Big Jake at 318-547-1000 or go to rpcontractors.com. River Parish Contractors. Let's get building.
Hi, I'm Mitchell Meredith with Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. We take great pride in educating our clients about their rights. Whether you're injured at work or while you drive, call our office at 272-5555. Knowledge is power, and you should know your rights after an injury.
Hi, I'm Sean Fagan of Locke Meredith Sean Fagan & Associates. When insurance companies have been unfair, we've never been afraid to go to trial. Fighting hard to protect your rights, we never settle a case out of convenience. We only settle when it's right for you. Whether you hire us at all, give us a call.
Hi, this is Beth Serena. Welcome to my pool. The first time I saw this beautiful pool, it exceeded every expectation that I had. They were able to get everything we wanted in this pool. It is a beautiful pool. We live out here, we eat out here, we watch TV out here. This is like our living room outside. We love this pool and everything about it. When we decided to build our pool, we called a great friend who is one of the best pool builders in the country in North Louisiana, and we said, who would you choose to build a pool in Baton Rouge? And without a hesitation, he told us Russell Pools. He said their history, tradition of great builds, great pools was unmatched. So of course, who did we call? Russell Pools. The advice I would give to anyone looking to build a pool is first call Russell Pools. They'll do an incredible job. It'll be incredibly organized. It'll be time efficient. And you will have your pool in no time.
Investing in a new roof doesn't have to be overwhelming. At Pelican Roofing, we offer 0 interest for 21 months because everyone deserves a safe.
This is the Hunt Palmer Show, brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools.
Nice hire by the Tennessee Vols, Josh Heupel. Looks like he's going to hire Jim Knowles as the offensive coordinator there on Rocky Top. Knowles was the Ohio State defensive coordinator 2 years ago, was the Penn State defensive coordinator this past year, and now looks like he's heading to Knoxville to be the Tennessee Vols defensive coordinator. Knowles has been very, very good wherever he's been. Oklahoma State before all that had some really good defenses there in Stillwater. So nice hire by Josh Heupel, obviously trying to marry the offense and the defense. He's always got a really dynamic offense, whether they're leading the conference in passing like they did this year, or lead the conference in rushing like they did a year ago. But you got to stop somebody, and Tim Beck's defense didn't do it this past year, so they've moved on. They will hire Jim Knowles as defensive coordinator. I put together a hot board for LSU's defensive coordinator, assuming Blake Baker would take the Tulane job, and Knowles was on there. So good hire by Tennessee. We'll see how that all works out on Rocky Top. All right, let's close it out with a little take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Take it or leave it.
Presented to you by Flight by Yingling, the next generation of light beer, crafted by America's oldest brewery. Today's hottest stories in sports, news, and sometimes even Hunt's life. The question is, will he take them or leave them?
Flight by Yingling is the next generation of light beer. It is delicious. It is light. What else are you looking for in a light beer? Delicious and light. That's it. They got it for you there. If you're going to pick up a pack the coming days for the weekend, pick up Flight by Yingling. It is the next generation of light beer.
Okay, so the Chicago Bears are set to host the Cleveland Browns on Sunday.
Yes.
The Chicago forecast calls for frigid temperatures, if you want to call this frigid, where the highs is expected to be just 10 degrees and the low will be 0 degrees, with the winds reaching 14 miles per hour to make it the wind chill expected to be around negative 20 degrees. Should football be played in this weather? Take it or leave it.
Leave it.
Just leave it alone.
They call it bear weather in Chicago. They love it. They take pride in it. They're idiots, of course, because that's not fit for human activity in any way. I have been in Chicago in April. It's like 40 and windy. It hurts your bones there. And I will not be at the Bears-Browns game on Sunday, and I can't believe any human would go to do that. It's going to be miserable, and they need to put a dome in their next stadium when they build it in Arlington Heights. They won't, but they should.
Yeah, negative 20 degrees is inhumane. I don't know. You can give me a couple million, I might go out there and go play a football game.
Oh, let's drill down on that.
Yeah, you know.
To go to that game, Bears, Browns, you sit there, whole game. In what you're wearing right now. I don't need you in ski gear. In what you're wearing right now. I'll give you $150 for beer on me.
Okay, so all right, I get to buy beer though.
Yes.
But I have to wear just a hoodie and sweats.
That's right. At this game, negative 20 wind chill. I will give you $10,000 to do it.
Damn, 10 bands to change my life right now.
Are you doing it?
For 10 bands? I'll do it for 10 bands. That changed my life right now. Okay, all right.
I'm not making the offer.
Yeah,
but
hey,
just trying to see what's going on.
Ain't no way I'll be out there, my behind frozen to them seats. I think they got bleachers. They have bleachers?
I mean, they
know.
got seats.
Oh, okay. All right. The Giants have fired assistant D-line coach Brian Cox during the bye season. The final straw was his reaction to the seating arrangements being changed on the flight home from the Patriots game. The Giants got blown out that game, by the way. When the assistant coaches were moved from the front of the plane to the back. Losing your job over your seat. Take it or leave it.
I mean, I'm going to leave it. I don't understand people sometimes. I get that. I mean, we're talking about Brian Cox, the former linebacker, right?
Yeah, he might have been in the NFL. I just know he's the D-line coach that got fired.
Yeah, he's probably got a bunch of money anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But, like, who cares if you're on the front of the plane or the back of the plane? I realize it takes a little bit longer to get off the plane if you're on the back. But
it's still private flight.
I just don't care. Like, I do not care. It's that people tend to care about things that I find so insignificant. It's bizarre to me. And I'm certainly not losing my job over it, like throwing a fit. Like I can see a situation where you would rather sit in the front, maybe.
Yeah.
But to throw a fit over it, just chill out.
Chill out.
Cost
him his job over the seating arrangement. So Eagles coach Nick Sirianni said Jalen Hurts is absolutely his starter for Sunday's game against the Las Vegas Raiders, and he called it ridiculous when the possibility of making a change at some point this season if Hurts continues to struggle. Are Eagles fans insane for wanting the former Super Bowl MVP benched already? Take it or leave it.
I'll take it. I get it. He's not playing well.
Yes.
I get it. I understand. That was an awful game that he just played. You're talking about multiple turnovers on one play.
Yeah.
He was awful. I get it. But, he's not proven to be awful. He just is playing awful. He couldn't figure it out. I mean, you hope that they've had a lot of different offensive coaches there because they keep getting poached for head coaching jobs.
Yes.
But I think you got to dance with the girl that brung you there, and he's the guy. So I'm not suggesting everyone should be in an awesome mood, but what have we talked about in Baton Rouge? That you always want the next guy, always want the backup, always want the backup. Well,
and then
you wanted the backup for Jaden Daniels after Florida State.
Yeah.
Then Garrett Nussmeier took over, and you wanted the backup, and then Michael Van Buren took over, and you're like, well, this guy's not any good. It's like Jalen Hurts is a pretty good player, so I'd probably play with him.
Yeah, no, it's insane that they're even calling for this. If the Saints won the Super Bowl, it will be crickets about benching the quarterback, even if he starts playing bad. So, maybe expectations.
Now, there's a point of diminishing returns where, I didn't think that Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno should have just been able to just stand on the sideline with no headset because they won a national championship 25 years ago.
Yeah.
There comes a time where you have to make changes for the better part of the organization.
Yeah.
We're not there with Jalen Hurts right now.
Yeah, and they just won a Super Bowl this calendar year. So it's Eagle fans are, they're one of one. So that's it for Take It or Leave It.
All right, that's it for Take It or Leave It. Appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on this Wednesday edition of the Hunt Palmer Show. Brought to you by Renaissance Homes and Pools, built by Renaissance.com. A lot that we got to today, so let me kind of go through it because we hit a lot of different topics. Opened the show talking about a mock draft with the New Orleans Saints and whether or not they should go offensive line again. I gave my thoughts on that. You can listen to it, Hunt on Saints on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel. We appreciate it if you do that. Matthew Brune, we're going to talk to him on Wednesdays about LSU basketball. It's just a big game on Saturday for LSU against SMU. We also got his thoughts on the debacle on Sunday where LSU got torched by Texas Tech. So check that out. What If Wednesday at 1:30, and then at the end of the hour, LSU and Charlie Weiss inked a new contract that makes him the highest paid offensive coordinator in the SEC. At 2 o'clock today, so top of the second hour, I went for 16 straight minutes on LSU baseball, what I learned about the fall. You can listen to that on demand. You can go read about it at louisianasports.net. Jawan Johnson's in the portal. JD Pickell is with us as well. So all that on demand, Hunt Palmer Show, wherever you find your sound. Matt's going to drive you home next one after further review. We're back tomorrow, same time, same place, the Thursday edition.
The Hunt Palmer Show.
Breck teamed up to reimagine your parks, and you imagined big. With your help, we went to work